Welcome to a new video. Today we have to talk about the new Audi RS5. And first of all, the outside is just wow. What did Audi do to that? I have to say I'm not the biggest fan of the standard Audi A5 design, but how they transitioned that into the RS5 model is just amazing. So we can really see it's an Audi RS model. We can't really see from far away maybe if it's an RS4, RS5 or RS6, but it is definitely an Audi RS model. So we have this super big air inlet at the front, the black front, which maybe not everyone likes, but I think it looks pretty cool here. And we can see it's just such a wide experience, and it just really looks like an RS model as we would wish for. So we have 3D Audi rings again. We have an RS badge again, which was very important because it disappeared on previous models. And how could Audi create such a 90mm wider body to the car, which is just amazing? So first of all, we can see that they used the same bonnet, but they used different fenders and a different front bumper, which is, to be honest, easy to do for a manufacturer because these are plastic parts or pretty simple, smaller metal parts. But the big transition and the complicated and expensive part is happening at the back. So just look at that sidewall. Audi created this huge, much wider sidewall, so that is a new piece. That's a lot of money for a manufacturer to develop that, and then tooling and production. And it also allowed them to have a different opening here. So we will come to that later. So that is adding even more cost. So you have a new sidewall and you have a new door. So Audi has a tradition in putting a lot of time, effort and money into the RS bodies. Just look at the previous RS6 with the A7 headlights, different bumper, a lot wider, and also different sidewall, different door. So that cost Audi a lot of money. Also BMW created a 75mm wider bodywork for the M3, but they only extended the sidewall. So they only have a new sidewall, but they kept the standard door, and that creates this overlap here, which is always a little bit of a strange area. So if we see this in another angle, you can see it looks like it doesn't really fit together. So you have the standard door and you have the wider wheel arch at the back. So they were saving the cost for a new door and they just kept the standard car's door. And at Mercedes, they save these costs completely because they just keep the standard sidewall, they keep the standard door. And that's why AMG models look a bit weird because they are wider at the front and they have a pretty nice front, but the rear looks strangely narrow. So Audi again put a lot of time and effort into making this a great RS model. But of course, not everything is great. We can still see the massive sensors here at the front. We can also see the strange door handles just with the button inside. So a lot of things go in the right direction, but of course you can't solve everything at the beginning. We can also see the new exhaust system, which is a little bit closer to the center, which I personally like pretty much. We also have the fog light in the middle, which is a cool touch. So the interior looks great on pictures, but we still have the old center design of the steering wheel, which is not as pretty as older ones. But we have the nice seats again, we have some RS badges, so it really looks like an RS model. The problem is just if we see the car in real life, we can see this piano paint again, and then we can see all the fingerprints. It really doesn't look good, and we still have touch at the steering wheel. But a lot of things go in the right direction, but they didn't really fix everything yet. And in the sidewall on the driver's side, we suddenly have a plug. So this is a plug-in hybrid, and we have to talk about this in a bit more detail now. In terms of engine, we have the well-known 2.9-liter V6 biturbo engine with now 520 horsepower. And we can see here that the AC compressor is not driven by the belt, it's driven electrically because we have a pretty capable hybrid system on board. But more on that on the next slides. So here you can see what actually has been added to the car, and you can see how full this car is. And this already looks heavy. You can also see the two expansion bottles here because you have two cooling systems for two different temperature levels. So one is for the high temperature circuit for the combustion engine and one is for the low temperature circuit for the hybrid system. So Audi has an electrical motor integrated in the gearbox, and they have a huge battery at the back. This battery has a net capacity of 22 kilowatt hours. Just to put that into perspective, that's pretty much the whole drivetrain of a Renault Zoe. So a proper electric car which could go for more than 100 kilometers on one charge. So this is what they have been adding to the Audi RS4, so to speak. Just now it's called RS5. So that already tells you that this car is going to be heavy, and we will talk about that in a minute. And in this picture, you can see pretty nicely how they positioned the power electronics for the electric motor under the rear seats. It looks like the forward package was so tight and so full that they didn't have any space here anymore. So they put it under the rear seat, which is not ideal because now the cables are longer and also the water lines are longer, which is adding weight. But on the other hand, it's the only available space. And here you can see the high voltage components pretty nicely. So you have this electric AC compressor at the front. This is the electric motor which is integrated into the gearbox. Here is the power electronics and the large battery. And we have an 8 kilowatt electric motor for the rear differential. And we will come to that in a minute. Let's talk about the quattro system. So they have a standard mechanical quattro system, just as we discussed it in many of my other videos. We have a mid differential, which is a torsion differential, so a mechanical differential without any electronics. And the interesting stuff happens at the back. Now let's take a closer look at this. And first of all, this is where the prop shaft arrives. And instead of going directly on the standard differential, which you can see here in red, they have a separate wheel in between, and this is there so that the electric motor can have a shaft through this one to get on the other side. And then here you can see, it looks a little bit complicated, but basically what they can do here is they can connect the drive shaft to the differential body with this gearbox here. And that means if you connect the drive shaft with the gearbox or with the differential body, you have a locked differential. If you let them spin freely, you have an open differential. And you can adjust these speed differences now with this 8 kilowatt high voltage electric motor. So they can actually shift the torque from one side to the other. You can have a locked rear differential or you can have an open rear differential. And you can change the speed differences any way you want. And in this picture, we can see the cooling system of the electric components. So we have the front electric motor, we have the power electronics, and we have the rear electric motor with the power electronics just underneath. So you can see how these cooling hoses go through the car, and we have an additional radiator at the front and an additional expansion bottle. The result of all this technology in this car, so basically the previous RS4 car plus a Renault Zoe drivetrain on top of that, is that the car is now 550 kilogram heavier than the previous version. So why do manufacturers do that? So I put together a couple of numbers to understand this whole topic a little bit better. So we have our RS5 B10, estate version, 2.9 liter V6 turbo, now 520 horsepower, 639 in total, including the hybrid system, 22 kilowatt hour net capacity in the battery, and that's enough for an electric range of 83 kilometers. Plus, the top speed in electric mode is limited to 140 kilometers per hour, which is enough to cover the whole emission cycle. That gives us a combined fuel consumption of 3.9 liters of 100 kilometers, a weight of 2,370 kilograms, acceleration 3.7, top speed optional 285 kilometers per hour, and a price of 107,850 euro. So if we now compare that to the previous model, you can see that we have pretty much the same car. So it's the same engine, it's just with only 450 horsepower. There's no hybrid system. The fuel consumption is at 9.6 and we have 550 kilogram less in this car. We have a bit worse acceleration, so just slightly slower, 290 kilometers per hour optional top speed. There are a lot of different versions with competition package and whatever, but let's say it's 290 for the old version, and we are pretty much 20,000 euro cheaper with the older model. So we have to look at the emission numbers that Audi is stating for the new car. So the new car has 3.9 liter fuel consumption in combined mode in the emission cycle, but if the battery is fully discharged, the new one also has 9.6 liters on 100 kilometers. So with this extreme hybrid system, they can pretty much halve the fuel consumption or more than half the fuel consumption. And that is important for the manufacturer. Why? Because until 2025, the EU limit for the emissions for the fleet emission of a car manufacturer was 116 grams per kilometer. There is a factor for petrol cars, which is 23.7, so you can calculate that into 4.89 liters on 100 kilometers. That means the EU is looking at the fleet emission, the average fleet emission of a car manufacturer. So they take every single car, take the standard fuel consumption of that car, calculate the average, and that is the average that a car manufacturer's fleet should have. So if you now have a car in your portfolio which has combined 9.6 liters on 100 kilometers fuel consumption, it's really bad, and that's creating a lot of problems for the manufacturers. So the new limit from 2025 is now 93.6 grams per kilometer, and that translates to less than 4 liters on 100 kilometers. Now try that with RS models. Now Audi could say that, okay, because of the new emission laws, we are no longer able to create RS cars. But they don't, they add a hybrid system to that. And surprise, surprise, the fuel consumption of the new RS5 is exactly the 3.9 liters. What is the limit? Which means that an Audi RS5 does not create any fines for Audi. And what does these fines mean and how high are they actually? So the fine is 95 euro per gram per kilometer, and that's per car, which means that even if you fulfilled everything until 2025, so you had a fleet emission of 116 gram per kilometer for your whole fleet, you are now 22.4 gram per kilometer above that. And that translates to a fine of 2,128 euro per car. Since Audi sold 1.6 million cars in 2025, they would have to pay a total fine per year of 3.4 billion euro to the European Union. So that is why everything about these new cars is about reducing the fuel consumption, reducing the CO2 emission, at least in the cycle. What happens at the customer is a completely different story. As you could see, if the battery is empty, it has the same fuel consumption as before. But this is the reason why they added these massive hybrid systems. So if we now look at the current BMW Touring, also with all-wheel drive, with the competition package, so they have a 3-liter straight 6-cylinder turbo with 530 horsepower with 10.3-liter fuel consumption in the cycle, so even more than the previous Audi, and it is like 100 kilogram heavier, although it's not a hybrid car. It has a bit better performance, and the price is pretty similar or even more than the current Audi RS5. So although it's a non-hybrid car, it already took the price to the next level. So they already added these 20K. So what does that mean in terms of emissions? So the 10.3 liters translate to 244 gram per kilometer, and the limit is 116 when the car came out, or until 2025. And so the difference is 128. Now that translates to a fine of 12,170 euro per car. And surprise, surprise, the old car's price was 96,000 euro. So they exactly added these 12,000 euro to the price of the BMW M3, and they make the customer pay for these fines. But therefore the customer gets a car without hybrid system. Now, the problem for them is just that the EU regulations change year after year, and now from 2025 they have a new limit, and suddenly they don't just lose 12,000 euro per car, they lose more than 14,000 euro per car. So they only have two options with this strategy now. Either they increase the prices of the M3 massively, or they bring a new M3 pretty soon. And that will probably be one with a hybrid system, which will also be a lot heavier again. And now let's look at the Mercedes with its 4-cylinder drivetrain. So it has 476 horsepower, total output 680, which is quite amazing and the highest of all of them. The battery capacity is 4.84, so they just created added a pretty small hybrid system. The electric range is only 11 kilometers, so it doesn't really help them much in the cycle, and that's why the combined fuel consumption is only 7.3 liters. So it's not really that low. And the hybrid system added a lot of weight, but not as much weight as the Audi system. So we are still at almost 2,200 kilogram, but the price is at 110,000 euro. So the most expensive one of all of them. if we compare this to the previous C63 model with the 4-liter V8 turbo, we can see that actually the fuel consumption didn't reduce so much, because the V8 actually only had 8.4-liter combined fuel consumption in the cycle, and the 4-cylinder only has 7.3. But it was adding like 370 kilogram and 20k in price. So actually the 4-cylinder package wasn't really that good for AMG, because it added a lot of weight, it added a lot of money, and in the end they didn't save so much. So they are not as like fine free as Audi now. And on the other hand, they lost so much of their image because they put this 4-cylinder engine in there. So all in all, we can say that it's pretty good to see a nice Audi RS model again, a car which really looks like a RS model, and Audi is finding their way back to old details like the proper Audi rings and an RS badge and the proper bodywork with a lot of effort and a lot of money. On the other hand, we can also be grateful that there still is such a RS model, because we could see how difficult it is for manufacturers today to bring these models out, and the hybrid system seems like an overkill and it's adding a lot of weight, but on the other hand it enables these cars to still be on the road and to be affordable for the manufacturers. So what do you think? How do you like the new Audi RS5? Let me know in the comments below, and see you at the next video.